So nice to meet you, Wing. Thank you for joining our podcast. Today, our guest is Wing Lam, founder of Wahoo's Fish Tacos.
Nice meeting you, Igor.
Thank you very much. Wing, could we please start from the beginning? 35 years ago, you decided, and here it must be your story, the beginning of your story.
Well, it's actually in about a week. We're going to celebrate the beginning of our 38th year in business. 38. It's been a while. We started in 1988 in basically a simple little restaurant in Costa Mesa, California. And it's where all the action sports, brands in the United States, most of them are basically in Orange County. So what started out as a themed base, like for places, a restaurant for like surfers to go after they got done surfing, very quickly turned into skateboarding, snowboarding, and everything to do with action sports. So we became the unofficial official restaurant for the action sports industry. So everybody that you see at the Summer X Games, Winter X Games, the Do Tour, anything to do with Supercross, anything that's extreme related, we just happen to be the food because we were there. I don't want to use the word pioneer. We were the first ones, right? And it's not that anybody else didn't want to do it. It's just nobody was interested. It was the sport in 1988 was very small. Today is in the Olympics, right? There's World Cups. There's a lot of different things now. So that's what we started. And we are full-blooded Chinese, but my parents immigrated to South America after World War II to Brazil. So we're Brazilian citizens operating a really fun Brazilian, Asian, Mexican establishment. So it's a little bit of crossover of all the different cultures. And that's the menu of the restaurant, the ingredients and all that. It's from our upbringing. So it's not that we just thought it'd be fun. It's what we grew up eating and we thought we'd share with all of our friends.
Thank you very much. Win. It's very interesting to know from you also that such a moment. So you have been doing your building your restaurant chain during the 38 years, and you faced with all the transformations and the restaurant markets ever happened. Yeah, digitalization, appearing of different services like Uber Eats and so on and so on and so on. How do you see? What is your opinion? How did you see all this transformation? How it influenced on your business?
Well, I think the big difference is back in the day, up until a few years ago, you had iconic brand faces, i.e., McDonald's would have somebody, Kentucky Fried Chicken had the Colonel, right? So there were founders that people would see in the public. Today, none of that exists. You can't think of a single restaurant. You got celebrity chefs, but you don't have chain or anything that has multiple units. There's no public facing brand. I'm the only one left that I know of, right? Besides all the celebrity chefs. So there's plenty of people on the Food Network that people recognize. But in terms of quick casual, is there a face to Pizza Hut? Is there a face? Well, Jack in the Box has the cartoon, right? But we know it's an ad agency inside of that, right? But McDonald's doesn't really have a face anymore, right? Starbucks, none of them have a face, right? So good or bad, it's just a logo that you recognize, right? But if any of the executives, any of the founders were to walk around, there is no recognition, there's no association. So there is no personality to the brand. So by mistake, accident, or on purpose, because I'm very engaged in the community, I represent our brand. I don't just send our food truck out. I actually go and serve people. So a lot of people recognize me, right? Because they see the taco or the burrito and then they see my face, right? I don't think right now, I mean, for a short moment in time, you had Papa John's, right? There was a face to the brand, but you take the other 3 or 4 Domino's, Pizza, all the other big chains, there's no face, there's a logo. but there's no face, right? So good or bad, right? I'm going to be around for a little longer, I hope, right? And I can ride the wave, right? So it helps me because people recognize me. So the logo and the face, they coexist. Where everybody else that I'm aware of, all you see is their logo, right? And their slogan, maybe their tagline, right? But there's really no face to it.
Yeah, I agree. I also read a little bit and saw several comments like it was a restaurant where my father took me in the 1998 surfer father. It's pretty amazing, really. It's a story.
Yeah,
Yes, tens of years have already passed. Yeah, people know. Yeah, really, people. It's like part of the life for some people.
yeah.
It's experience from their childhood and so on. It's really, really, really amazing. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Wing, could you please tell me? So, when you faced with when the digitalization appeared, yeah, for example, several software in order to manage the stores, restaurants, and so on. We are speaking. My question is about consistency. So, in the 90s, how many restaurants did you have in the 90s? And how?
In the 90s, we only had about a dozen restaurants.
Mhm,
And relatively speaking, it was easy to keep everybody on the same page because you
mhm,
have training, you have store visits. So, a lot of it was very manual. There wasn't a lot of digital AI. None of that existed in the 90s, right? So you physically have to have somebody going to check the stores, in a combination of the secret shopper, right? So they can check the guest experience. So you have somebody, making sure that the back of the house following all the recipes. And then you have, consumer engaging, services where they can see, hey, is the cashier offering the special? Is the cashier, knowledgeable about the menu, the different choices, different options, right? So a lot of that has gotten better with the digital AI and all that, but it's a human business that we're in. So unless you're just punching a kiosk, right? You
mhm.
still got to check the personality of the cashier, the servers, and all that. So that's what we're in. We're in the hospitality space. AI can only do so much, but AI can't anticipate. AI can only follow orders where humans can anticipate, they can read the customer. So it's a different thing because you can't, unless AI had a camera and could capture the human feeling, emotions, and then react to it, right? But right now, you ask a question, it gives you an answer, right? It doesn't read your mind. And that's where humans, the good ones, can anticipate.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. AI can be used for several different things like analyze, good
Yeah,
analyze
yeah,
functionality. So preferences to understand the history of your orders and to understand in 1 second your preferences. But yeah, it can't anticipate.
yeah.
It's only human.
Yeah.
Uh, Wayne, my question is okay, in the 90s, you had about 10 restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you please tell me right now how many do you have?
We lost a few. We are down. I think we're at around 45 stores right now.
45
Yeah.
stores are there. And they are located in two countries, as I see, in the United States and Japan.
Yeah. One in Japan, which is an old friend. He has done amazingly well there. And then we have as far east as New Jersey to the other coast. And then we
Mhm.
have some, in the states next to us in the middle of the country. But yeah, most of it is half of them, the stores are in Southern California.
Sorry, are these restaurants are franchisee?
Yeah.
Uh,
The ones that are out of the area are franchised.
okay, several restaurants you own and several are
Yeah.
franchisee.
About half and half, half
Uh,
franchise, half corporate. Yeah.
Okay. And speaking about these 45 restaurants right now, how do you manage consistency across all your locations? Because I understand that it is really important what you do, the taste, sauces, and so on and so on. How do you manage this consistency?
Again, a communication, and then having our corporate trainers, staff go and check on the stores. Again, you constantly have to train, retrain, check, make sure that everybody's following, right? Because it's very easy to deviate for either cut corners to save money or cut corners to save labor because those are your two expenses, right? So
Mhm.
we always want to make sure the quality, that we don't exchange, you know, cuts of
Mhm.
meats, right, or anything like that. So unless you can tell me a really good reason that you want to change from one product to another, and I don't want similar, I want it to be the same, right? And
Mhm.
so, i.e., we're one of the few Hispanic restaurants that only uses white chicken breast meat. I can tell you, dark meat is a lot less expensive, right?
Mhm.
It's still chicken, but it's not white meat. See? So over the years, we've talked about it, but we've never switched because healthy people, for some reason, not for flavor, but apparent healthy, white meat is preferred for healthiness, but it's not necessarily for flavor. I can tell you dark meat is much more flavorful, right? And it's
Yeah.
also less expensive, right? But again, this is the trade, right? So we're very particular about the product that we use. So unless you have a really good reason to change, it has to be an upgrade, not a downgrade. And then the labor is like, hey, don't overdo this. This is what we expect. In other words, production, instead of saying, hey, I know I'm going to sell 100 tacos in the next hour. I don't want to cook all 100 pieces of fish on the first minute because by the 60th minute, that piece of fish is going to be dry. So I want to cook as I go, right? So a lot of these things, again, most of my competitors do batches because everything sits in juices, right? So it doesn't
Mhm.
get dry. But fish, you can't do that too, right? So you have to know that, hey, you have to do it in sequence, right? And in smaller batches. So you can't just say, hey, in the next hour, I'm going to do 5 pounds of fish. Well, I can't do that. It won't hold, right? So we got to make sure that people say, hey, don't get lazy. Just cook as you go, right? Because then we want the product to be nice and fresh. So there's a lot of that all the time because people are like, but I could save, my cook can go do something else. He goes, yes, but that fish, first customer will be very happy. The last customer will be very upset.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And could you please tell me, in your opinion, what is the most operational challenging at the moment?
The moment, especially in the United States, labor is a major issue because, depending on what state you're in, they have raised the minimum wage standards, right? So
Mhm.
pre-COVID, which is only 6 years ago, right? Minimum wage was around $11. In
Mhm.
California right now, by the time you add everything, we're almost three times that amount. So imagine in 6 years, your most 1/3 of your expense, which is labor, goes up, 300%. It's a huge issue to overcome. So you got to
Uh,
be really, really efficient, and you
mhm.
really got to make sure that you can have the labor match the food, so you can still have a little margin left for profit. But it's gotten really, really difficult. And then obviously the U.S. government doesn't help with all the tariffs and all the other stuff. So you got huge issues with supply chain because what used to be inexpensive all of a sudden has gotten really expensive. And then you have this other thing called weather patterns, right? Where we use a lot of fresh produce. So when it rains, which doesn't happen very often, right? But when it does, and it's the wrong time for rain to come, all your lettuce, everything that's grown on the ground goes from $10 to $100 for like 2 weeks. So again, your profit in those 2 weeks are gone, right? Because you
Yeah.
can't substitute fresh lettuce. There's nothing to substitute, right? So these are some of the things that you know we have issues with because you have weather, which comes and goes. Then you got government, right? And then you got just all these things that are out of our control, right? So if we could plan, you know, if we knew 5, 6 years ago that labor was going to be three times what it is, we would have planned, because then we could have increased the prices, right, to catch
Yeah.
up. But we're behind, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I understand. And why? And what you did to be efficient, to be more efficient in order?
More efficient means back in the day before COVID, you could afford to have, let's say, 6 people on the
Mhm.
shift.
Mhm.
Now you can't. You got to
Oh,
have maybe 4 people doing the work that 6 people used to do, but everybody's got to be more efficient. Everybody's got to multitask, right? So they can pick up the slack. And so the people that are there make more money, but they're also working a little harder, right?
do you use something to monitor people
Oh yeah,
efficiency?
we monitor because we they know what's expecting, right? Because
Mhm.
they know that there's less of them. So it's almost like sports. You got a
Mhm.
full team or you got a half a team. So then if you have a half, everybody that plays offense has got to play defense too, right? Or you can't substitute, right? There's no backup, right? So that's where we are right now in the current state. So I would say the people that are working hard and smart can find jobs. The people that used to be lazy or whatever, right? And those are the people nobody wants to hire because there's no room for you to just sit around, right? Like you can't just punch in the clock and go, like, what's my return on your hours that you're putting in, right? So there's
Yeah.
nobody in the restaurant sitting around, right? Those days are gone. Back in the day, you could afford to have somebody relax a little bit, you know what I mean? But now efficiency is at a high at all time. So good or bad, right? Everybody's making more money, but everything costs more as well, right? So
Yeah.
artificially, you can say, "Well, I double my salary," but now artificially, you're also paying double for everything you're buying. So there really isn't any winning, you know.
Okay, I agree. Thank you very much for your opinion. Wayne, speaking about your clients, at the beginning, I think it was something like family restaurant. Yeah, it was surfers who come to the beach to surf. You help them. I think in my imagination. Yeah,
Yep.
that how it was started, and later then you I understand you um, develop your business into other areas like skating, yeah, skis, and so on. And what do you know about your clients right now? Who are they?
Okay. So the big thing is, I don't know about in Poland. Like, what does everybody in Poland aspire to be? I'm going to assume because there's a lot of ice in your end of the world, maybe hockey or maybe soccer, very
Mhm.
popular, right? But in order
Okay.
to play hockey or soccer or rugby, whatever that may be, right? It requires you to be very fit because you can't be overweight, right? So I call that an active mindset. So for me, my customers, even though they may not surf, they may not snowboard, they're very active, meaning they want to be in good health to perform at their best. Because no matter where we are in our life, we are very competitive. We want to be the best golfer, the best tennis player, the best of everything we do, right, in our circle. So my food is part of that lifestyle. So it supports you because it's very difficult for you to be eating hamburgers and french fries every day and fried chicken sandwiches and perform at your
Yeah.
best, right? So the whole idea is not that my food is any better, it's all that, but it helps you. Because it's clean, right? I make fresh food, right? So the idea is it's it works. People are very happy with it, right? And it fits their lifestyle. So it's not so much that you can surf or do all that, but you want to be healthy. So I look at people that are very active, even if they don't look active, they think they're active, right? Because there's a lot of people that love football, but they just don't play. They just want to watch, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you decided to go play, then my food is better, right? But if you're on the couch, there's a lot of people that want to watch soccer on the couch. That's fine too, right? But in their mind, they're like, oh, I wish I could go back out when I was 10 years old and kick the ball around. I don't. So that's what we do is like it's more of a psychographic, whatever you want to call it, but it's not a convenience. We're not a convenience. His convenience is, hey, I'm just hungry. I just need something that's quick, drive through, blah, blah, blah. And you're not thinking, is it good for me? You're just thinking, I'm hungry and I want it quick. Do I
Yeah.
really care? No. I'm driving. I just want to get from A to B, and I got 2 minutes to grab a bite. I'm not that, right? So I'm going to be, hey, I feel good. I got a little bit of time, and and before I go to the gym or before I go surfing, I want to eat something good for me, right? So that's what I'm selling. Not convenience.
Yeah, yeah, I pretty understand
Yeah,
this strategy. I mean, my question is, so your food is healthy.
yeah,
It fits to the people's understanding of healthy foods, and it could be eaten not only when you are near the
yeah,
restaurant or you are taking part into any competition and so on,
sure.
where your restaurant is near, but it can be also ordered, for example, for lunch
Oh yeah.
at your office, for example. And my question is, do you know your clients? So who are they? Do you aggregate the information about them? Do you use this information? So for any advertisement companies, so that is what I'm speaking.
Oh, okay. So you know, I say I cheat. Let me use the word cheat. Okay. So most of the people, like, look at the biggest brands in the world. Nike would be the perfect one, right? What does Nike sell? Nike doesn't say, hey, look at how good my shoe is.
Mhm.
Nike says, hey, you want to play like Michael Jordan? These are the shoes, right?
Okay,
And
okay.
90% of the people that buy those Nikes are never going to play basketball. But the affiliation, the association, the coolness, the brand, right? So
Yeah.
I basically do the same thing. And
Uh,
and I basically, because I do a lot of events. So with music, with sports. So I'm an aspirational restaurant brand. So I don't
mhm.
care what you do on your day-to-day, Igor, but if you think that you want to be, oh my God, I really like this music. Well, those music guys did a Wahoo. Well, maybe I should go there. Or I really like this clothing brand that I'm happy with. Well, those, surfers, those, whatever those active people, the brand that you're wearing, come to my restaurant. It aspires you to come over as well. Because all of us want to be a part of a tribe, right? We want to belong
Yeah.
to a group. So I have a lot of really cool groups of athletes, musicians, the whole thing from football to basketball, now to every group, because I do a lot of events. So you want to be part of this tribe. Well, then part of it is eating and wearing, right? And driving and drinking. So all of those brands I work with, right? Like
Mhm.
my only friend that lives in Poland, he
Mhm.
happens to be from America, right? He's been in Poland now for I don't know how many years, but I just saw him earlier this year. That's why I
An,
like hockey, right?
unusual situation.
Yeah, but you're gonna laugh. He runs Monster Energy drink in Europe.
Whoa.
Okay, he's got so when he came, I'm gonna tell you, it's a funny story. He's about 55 ish, mid 50s. You know, his wife is mid 30s. There's about a 20-year gap between them, right? They have an 8-year-old boy who's a very good hockey player. So
Mhm.
when he called me and he was coming back to visit, because Monster Energy Drink happens to be based here in or Southern California, the parent company, right?
Mhm.
So he and I have been friends before he left, and then it was the first time I seen him in person because I see him on social media all the time, right? But not in person for 15 years. And I say, hey, you're coming back. What do you want to do? And he goes, my kid is a huge hockey player. And I says, we want to come and see one of the professional teams. In happens to be in Orange County, we have a team that's the Mighty Ducks, right? Like the movie, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm like, you want to come? I'm like, yeah. I goes, I will arrange for your son for us to be before the players go on the ice. We'll be there and we can high five every player. And the players are already 6 foot tall, but you put the ice skate on them, they're about 6'5". They're ginormous, right? And so you put this little 8-year-old kid that's what 4 feet tall next to the 6 foot high, and he's high fiving the players as they're walking onto the ice. It was amazing, right? But here's
Mhm.
the funny part: the wife, when she was a kid, right, her favorite movie, the Mighty Ducks movie, the Disney movie, right? So the mascot for the team is a duck, right? Like
Yeah.
in a costume, like a furry duck, and they call him Wild Wing, right? So because our tickets were in a suite, I arranged for Wild Wing to come to take pictures with the little kid because I know all the people at the team, right? And I didn't realize that the wife was more excited than the little kid because she's like, "Oh my god, I only saw this in the movie cartoon when I was a kid, and here I get a chance to meet the players and the right, the character." So that to me is so the brand, right? I allow my customers to see some of the most amazing athletes in my restaurant because they come, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That
I understand.
now you see it. So if somebody were like whatever sport or music you're a fan of, imagine if somebody said, "Hey, such and such is going to be at this pub later today," you'd be like, I want to go meet this guy, right? So that's what I do all the time. I have these amazing athletes, and people look at me and I goes, and all the Ducks players eat at my restaurant. That's why I have access to them. So when we were going back and forth, because what would be the most exciting thing you could do in America? And it happens to be the only professional hockey team that they made a movie about. So, and it happens to be in my backyard because the movie was made by Disney, and Disney started the hockey team and they sold it to another friend of mine, right? So that's why it's called the Ducks, the Mighty Ducks, right?
Yeah, I
You
pretty
see what I mean?
understand. Yeah, it's great strategy. I understand. It's great
Yeah,
strategy. My question is just about like I'm looking from the perspective of digitalization that everyone looks after the data of their clients. Who are they? How often do they
yeah,
come? And so on. Create loyalty programs and
yeah.
so on. And so, do you do this? So
We do.
yes, your strategy is unique. It's really amazing. You did the thing that no one else. Yeah.
But where we good at is so in the world of social media and all the digital, right? Ultimately, it's still about content because you can now literally everybody knows it's no secret that everybody's getting paid to post. The difference is where are the legitimate posts and where are they getting paid? The line is very small, right? It's very hard to tell, right? Where I don't pay for posts because I'm able to create amazing content via the celebrities that I'm friends with. So I can tell you, like in the 2 days, I'll be doing some amazing events with a music band. Each one of the members gets paid thousands of dollars for a single post. I'm doing videos with them, not one post. I'm doing videos. And for you to do a video with either one of these guys, average 20, 30, $40,000 per video post, right? Because the content is being seen by hundreds of thousands and millions, right? But I'm able to create it without paying them. And I am in the content and I'm interacting with them. It's a huge difference between all the traditional posts because I've seen their cheat sheet and it basically says, hey, for $1,000, I got to take a picture, make a comment, tag, and do this. And I'm like, that to me looks like an ad. That does not look like a real post. But I've seen it. I know all the social media influencers, and I'm like, I'm not paying you guys a dime, you know.
Yeah.
And that I
I
changed the dynamic because I know what they do. And I'm like, do you really go to that restaurant? You don't. But somebody paid you to go there. They paid you $1,000 to go eat for free and post something about it. And that to me is ridiculous because it's not real. But the public has to decide is it real or not, right? So when I say a person is coming to my restaurant, they're not just coming; they're a friend of mine, right?
yeah.
Where most stuff on social media, it's not real, you know.
Yeah, I understand. But do you do anything? This part is pretty clear for me. Do you do anything like simple solutions like any loyalty program for the
Yes,
clients.
we
Yeah.
have all that, but all that is not as much fun as what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we do that. The back of the house, we got the loyalty, the points, we have all the demographics. Yes, we do buy additional, airtime to post and repost. We do all that, but that's not the fun stuff. Creating the original content that drives
Yeah,
all my competitors crazy because they're like, "How did Wing do that?"
yeah. I understand.
I'm telling you, behind the scenes, is I have access. Like right now, the biggest sporting event in America that's starting, I think it's tonight, no, tomorrow night, is the World Series, the baseball thing, right?
Mhm.
I have access to go down on the field and take pictures with the players. And most people are like, how in the hell are you going to do that? I goes, I'm friends with a lot of the players through the sports agency. So everything is 1 degree for my network, right? So right now, the most successful manager in baseball is the Dodgers manager, right? He's
Mhm.
been in the playoffs, I think, 13 years in a row, which is a record, right? They've won the World Series twice, and they've been in the World Series 5 times, right? But they've been in the playoffs 13 years running. They have the longest streak of any professional baseball team in America, right? I'm friends
Yeah,
with the manager. And people are like, how
it's
in the
amazing.
world? Right? And I'm like, right? So that's the like and the World Cup coming to America next year, right?
Yeah.
The head of the US organization is one of my friends. That's what I'm talking about. So where everybody else is like, here's $1 million. So I'm like, what do I want to do? Right? It is still going to cost me money, but it's not going to have to go to somebody. I can just call him because I need tickets. What is it going to cost me? I'm not going to pay a broker $1 million for, it's going to be expensive, but I have direct access. And Chris Klein is the former member of the U.S. soccer team, blah, blah, blah. He was the former president of the United States. The soccer team was the Galaxy team. So it's like I said, I'm 1 degree from all of this stuff, right? So that content to sit there with the head of the coach of the U.S. soccer team, the players, all that, people are like, oh my God, how is Wing doing this? And it drives my friends crazy because I am not McDonald's. I am not Taco Bell. I'm not, right? But I'm able to, right, navigate right
You,
onto the field.
you did things which will be impossible to repeat for someone else. That
Yes.
is the relations with such amount of people who are involved, somehow involved into the process, into the advertisement. It's almost impossible for someone. It's yes and yes. it's
Yeah.
not it's not the magic tablet.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I talked about, is going back to how this whole thing started. All the computer software, AI, all that, they can follow orders, but they can't create, they can't anticipate unless the data is already there. But it's something brand new. Like for me, the person that's in charge of the United States surfing that for the Olympics, the person that's in charge of skateboarding, those are all personal friends of mine. So I have the opportunity to meet the athletes and do things with them before they get on that podium. Because once they're at the Olympics, I can't touch them. McDonald's owns the food category. I get them before they get there. And I have content where McDonald's can put their logo. They don't have the kid going, here's my favorite hamburger. I have that. McDonald's doesn't have it. And McDonald's is paying for it. I'm not. I mean, so any one of these,
It's great. It's great.
yeah. So I have original content of the athlete eating my food. McDonald's doesn't have that. All McDonald's has is the logo, right?
McDonald's is not healthy food.
Yeah. So to me, it's like all of this. So the tools help me be better, right? Because then I can share the story. So in the old days, I would have to buy an ad to tell about a professional surfer eating in my restaurant. Now, instantly I can post social media, it's already up, right? So if I see somebody, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like you being like, you're going to laugh at this. One of the most popular shoe brands in the world that had the best 5 years of their company history is a shoe from Germany, Birkenstock, because everybody stopped wearing formal wear because they didn't have to go to the offices. So if you look at their history, and if in 20, 21, 22, and 24, whatever, right, the last 5 years, you went online and you tried to buy a pair of Birkenstocks, the chances of you being able to get it in your size, in your color, in your style, everything was sold out. It was the best year in 5 years of the company history, right? Because all my friends would call me and goes, oh my God, I can't find this. I can't find because nobody's wearing high heels. All the women and all the guys are like not wearing shoes. They're wearing sandals, Birkenstock. So I work with them, right? So here's the biggest company, best in the world, oldest, whatever you want to call it, most comfortable. I'm one of their celebrity chefs, right? So when all my friends can't get anything, they call me. I'm like, Wayne, can you help me out? And I pick up the phone. I call the CEO of Birkenstock. And the next day, that shoe's in my desk. I mean, this is literally, I can joke about it, right? I have boxes of these in my office. And literally, all I do, and people are like, who do you call? I call the CEO. And it's the biggest shoe brand in the world, more popular than anybody. The women love it, right? And I literally text them. I goes, I need a pair of these. The next day is in my office, right? So that's the world that I'm in, right? So people are going to go, how the hell? Like I said, you can go and buy or you can partner. So I've been able to partner my brand with some of the most amazing brands in the world. So we have all the action sports brand, all the Orange County happens to be the central hub for sports agents. So professional football and professional baseball. The 3 or 4 biggest agencies in America are here in Orange County, and I'm friends with all of them, right? LA is Hollywood, but Orange County is sports, right? So I don't care about actors because to me, they have no skill set. They can just repeat lines, but athletes can do something that nobody else can do, right? So to me, I'd rather hang out with athletes and they're more normal. Celebrities, Hollywood, they're all fake, you know. So to me, it's like,
And
I
I
don't really get
understand.
it, right? So that's my space, and I do things that everybody else is like, how's Wing doing that? Why is Wing here? Why is it? I'm like, I don't know.
What
I
is the short? What is the short answer? How are you doing
Yeah, and then
it?
like for you, like I would assume, is there a Formula One race? There's not a Formula One race in Poland, right? It's next door, right here in Austin. Is there one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no.
Okay, so for instance, right, if we were talking about Formula one of my friends just sold McLaren Racing. He bought it for 750 million in 20, sold it 2 months ago for 5 billion. Okay. But it wasn't all his money. He just happened to be one of the managing partners. But this is the world that I'm in. So when people look at me and go, I know somebody that owns a team. I know. So the Premier League, I can pick up the phone and go to any match I want to go see. And people are like, you don't even live in Europe. I go, doesn't matter. Because guess who sponsors a bunch of the teams? Monster Energy Drink. So there's ownership and sponsors. So between the two of them, one of them is going to go, what do you need? I'm like, I want to come over here. See you there, right? And when they come to see me, right? Where do you want to go? You want to go to Disneyland, SeaWorld? Where do you want to go? Right? It's all the same, So I have this crazy network, and that's how we build our brands. Because it's not only lifestyle, but it's fun. Because I happen to be backstage with some of the biggest bands that have ever toured, right? I've done events with Metallica, Green Day. I've done events with all of them. And people are like, how much money did you pay them? I go, zero. That's the difference. McDonald's, you pay them. But I didn't,
Metallica is one of my favorite groups.
right? I've done
then, for,
events with Metallica.
then forgiven too.
See, that's what I'm saying. And if you and I knew each other when Metallica was playing, for their charity event, then you could have literally met the guys in the band because I'm doing the food backstage for them.
It was my childhood when they were famous and were playing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the world. So that's where I guarantee you're never going to meet another restaurant guy. I don't care what they do, unless they're writing a check. They don't have the relationship because I do things with them before they got to where they got. Right on the way up, I was the guy in the garage helping them out, right? So they remember me and they're like, oh, Wing is coming. So, like, the event that I'm going to be doing this Saturday is ginormous, right? It's going to be one of the most amazing bands. And we, everything that we did, the merchandise, everything's got our name on it. This going to be hilarious. And most restaurants would have paid at least a few $100,000 to be affiliated with the band. I'm not paying a dime because they want us to be a part of their trip, their journey. So that's what we get to do. We get to be a part of everybody's journey, right? And because they all need food, right? So that's what we
Yeah.
come in. Hey, so I mean, you and I can spend. I mean, if you came out here and you spend a little time with me, literally in the physical, then also everybody can recreate this on AI. You can't recreate this. You got to be with me, and then you see the energy. I mean, again, I'm treated in a lot of ways like a celebrity from the Food Network, right? And I joke, I make tacos, but people don't care. But he makes the best tacos. I'm like,
The
I'm like,
best hackers in the world. Win, thank you very much for participating in our podcast.
sure.
You told really amazing story. It was really a pleasure for me to had a conversation with you
Okay.
and to listen to all these incredible things regarding your story. Thank you very much for joining the podcast. Next week, I will send you